Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
It's all about Platt Wellness, and we are so excited to have our next guest here joining us, and also want to congratulate him and welcoming him to the Hall of Fame. Michael Platt here, live from California. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm fine, thanks.
Well, pleasure to have you here, and congratulations on this feat and all that you've done and all you continue to do. Let me first start off by getting to know you, and for our listeners as well. How many years have you been in the health and wellness business for?
Oh, probably about 30, 30 to 40 years, long time.
Oh, well, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Well, I was born and raised in New York City, went to medical school in New York,
Mm-hmm.
and when I finished my internship and residency, I headed out to California. So I've been
Mm-hmm.
out here quite a while, I guess, since about 1965 or so. Anyway, the I've been board certified in internal medicine,
Amazing.
and my mother, she died at the age of 61 of breast cancer. And right after she died, I realized that I had inherited her hormones. Most people don't realize that men and women have the identical hormones, different levels, but the same hormones. And and I realized that she was low in progesterone, which is why she had breast
Mm-hmm.
cancer. And and I at that time I used to have to slap my face when I was driving, trying to keep my eyes open. And And the reason for that, I was producing too much insulin.
Wow.
And I knew that my mother had a lot of insulin because she had a belly on her. Anyway, the I started using progesterone cream. And ever since I started doing that, I've never gotten sleepy in a car anymore. So I got very interested in hormones and learned as much as I could, and opened up a clinic in 1995 devoted to hormone therapy. So
Amazing. Well, hold on. So some people might even say, well, what is hormone therapy? What are we even talking about? How could this help me and benefit me? Well, as a doctor and all you've done, I mean, there's so much to it. So let me also start off by saying to go back a little bit. Let's find out what started in, your career path. Obviously, you were interested in medicine, and walk us through that. Where did you go to school? And then, as a doctor, tell me where you were practicing and how you moved over to the wellness side as well.
oh, okay. Um, well, I went to New York Medical College, um, which is in New York City. Um, and initially, I had wanted to be a surgeon. And during my residency, when I was rotating through all the different specialties, um, I had a hard time with that 10-minute scrub that doctors had to do before surgery. And I couldn't understand why you would have to wash your hands for 10 minutes and then put on a pair of gloves. So I switched over to medicine. By the way, it's now a 2-minute scrub. Um, but anyway, but I've always been interested in medicine, and
Hmm.
um, it's interesting. You've heard of ADHD.
Of course, yeah. My nephew's been diagnosed with that attention deficit hyper disorder.
Well, I've written a book called Adrenaline Dominance,
Mm.
and it's the only book that I'm aware of that talks about adrenaline and all the conditions that are associated with it. And one of these conditions is ADHD. This is not known
Hmm.
generally to the American public, but anyway, the but it's not a learning disorder; it's an interest disorder. In other words, your nephew will concentrate on things he's interested in, but if he's not interested, he will not
Hmm.
focus. But once you lower adrenaline, then you can focus. Well, I had ADHD. I used to get up and walk out of class, but and I never opened a book until the night before an exam. But it wasn't until I got into medical school that I started studying. And the reason for that, I was interested in medicine, but in high school and college, I had a real hard time being interested in anything. So, um, so anyway, things all started coming together after I started getting involved with hormones because hormones control everything in the body, and doctors get very little training in hormones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, even even though they're really important, just like doctors are not trained to treat the cause of illness. They're trained to give out band-aids, drugs. So,
Mm-hmm. No, it's true. And look, I'm 45. I'm losing hormones. Why? Here I am, right? It's part of life. But most doctors aren't addressing this. How are you helping people with Platt Wellness, who we are losing our hormones? I mean, what is there to do for us, Michael?
well, you could I can sit down and talk to somebody and I'll understand their hormones. Most doctors, they do blood tests to determine what the hormone levels are. A lot of doctors do saliva tests, which I never approve of because, um, and we can talk about this. I specialize in problems related to adrenaline. And when
Mm-hmm.
people have a lot of adrenaline is a survival hormone, and it cuts off blood supply to areas of the body that are not needed for survival. And that includes the salivary glands. They're not needed for survival. So because of that, hormones don't get into the saliva. So when they do a saliva test, they get a low level of cortisol. And based on that, they diagnose a condition called adrenal fatigue, which is a condition that doesn't exist, even though there have been multiple books on adrenal fatigue. Um, but the so but but sitting down talking to a patient is really the best way of determining what what their hormone levels are. So and
Interesting.
and they can be adjusted.
Wow. And also you as an author, I mean, there's just a lot to you, which I want to get to. We can't do it all in one show, but I want to also find out more about, as far as the books that you've written. You mentioned you're an author as well. Could you share a little bit about us and talk about some of the most proudest things in your life, some of the biggest accomplishments?
Well, the first book I wrote was called the Miracle of Bioidentical Hormones,
Mm-hmm.
and it was self-published. And that book literally brought thousands of patients to my office from all over the country and all over the world came in because of that book. Um, it's a different type of hormone book because what it does, it teaches people what hormones do and goes to the reason why people are not well and how adjusting hormones can get people well again. Um, and so then my next book was the adrenaline dominance book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I wrote a manual called the Platt Protocol for Hormone Balancing for doctors to teach them how to do hormones. Um,
Wow. And now, where can we find the book? Tell us the titles of the book.
oh, I'm sorry. Um, people can find all those books on my website called plattwellness.com.
Perfect.
That's the only place to find the manual. Um, Amazon, they can, they can get the books on Amazon, but not the manual.
Okay. All right. And then also on plattwellness.com, there's some pretty amazing products out there. There's progesterone cream, there's bioidentical cream. You have all these amazing products. Do you want to talk about the benefits of progesterone a little bit? I read some of the testimonials and people are raving over it.
Well, progesterone is my favorite hormone,
Tell us
and
why. And what is progesterone for the basics people out there? We may not even know that. I
well,
get confused too.
most people, including doctors, think that progesterone is a woman's hormone. And it is a woman's hormone, but they're not aware that men also produce progesterone. Men stop producing progesterone around the age of 50. They stop making it. And the thing about progesterone that, it's sort of mostly as a hormone that blocks estrogen. What's not known is that progesterone also blocks insulin and adrenaline. And so, and it starts at, when people have a lot of adrenaline, it's always genetic.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts when people have excess adrenaline. You've heard of babies that have colic.
Yeah, of course. I have a 6 and 8 year old. One did. Yeah.
Well, colic is caused by adrenaline, and you can actually take progestin cream and put it on the baby's belly, and in about 5 minutes, the colic will be gone.
Really?
And then later on, you've heard of bedwetting in children.
Yep. I did that till I was 14.
Okay, you only see bedwetting in creative type people, by the way.
Thank you. I'm proud of it. My mother was a late one too. Thank you.
Well, the thing about creative people, they're the ones that have the most adrenaline. I
Okay.
just want just, and the only thing that causes bedwetting is adrenaline. And you can actually get rid of bedwetting in children in about 24 hours just by lowering adrenaline. And
Interesting.
then the next thing that shows up is ADHD. And you could actually eliminate ADHD in about 24 hours, again, by controlling adrenaline.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, this is all unknown. The only place that people can read about this is in my book called Adrenaline Dominance. Um, I cannot explain to you why the American medical system has ignored adrenaline all these years, but eventually they'll catch on.
Yeah. Well,
So,
also, let me ask you this. I mean, clearly, as a doctor, as a professional, you've had a lot of experience, a lot of accomplishments in what you do. And is there one in particular that it's most proud of? Is it the career? Is it the family? What would you say is one of the some of the biggest accomplishments in your life? Is there anything you want to share with us?
well, medicine has always been a passion for me,
Mm-hmm.
and getting people well is very rewarding. It really is. Um, I had a patient come in at one time. He's about 47 years old, and the reason he came to see me is that every morning he would wake up and vomit. And what makes it easy is that there's only one thing that'll cause this kind of vomiting, and that's adrenaline.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of women that vomit throughout their entire pregnancy?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They call that hyperemesis gravidarum, but again, that's adrenaline. And they have a condition called cyclical vomiting syndrome. And,
Mm-hmm.
and in children, they wind up being hospitalized because they can't stop vomiting. This is also adrenaline. And again, this is unknown to the medical system. Um, but so he came in because he was waking up every morning and vomiting. And and he had severe fibromyalgia,
Mm-hmm.
which is another condition caused by excess adrenaline. So I put some progesterone cream on his arm.
Mm-hmm.
He rubbed his arms together. And we started talking again. And after about 5 minutes, he sat back in his chair and he looked at me and he said, "Doc, my entire life, I've never felt this good." That's only after 5 minutes. And since he left my office, he never had another episode of vomiting.
Mm-hmm. Wow. That is pretty impressive. My goodness. And also, reading up on you further, I wanted to ask, is there, you know, someone out there that you credit your success to and someone that you want to honor? Is it someone in your past, your current situation, family member, friend? Who inspired you to get into this field?
Well, other than my wife,
Oh, yes. Yes. What's her
uh,
name?
oh, Victoria,
Wonderful. How long you been together for?
about 27 years.
Oh my goodness. Beautiful.
Anyway, um, but I can't really attribute any particular person um, as a mentor or whatever. Um, I'd like to be able to give credit to somebody, but I can't figure out who. Uh, um,
Oh, well, we still only have 3 minutes left in our show. We're excited to have you here. What do you think in particular is important to let the listeners know about you? Is there any advice you could offer to those in your field, your world, and what would you say to them?
Well, it with regard to my field, I would strongly recommend that they be at least be aware of what's called alternative medicine. You know, medicine is basically unchanged for the last 50 years. And the thing that seems to get people better is when you take alternative methods to get them better. You know, I just that's all I would say is just be aware of alternative medicine.
Got it. All right. Well, interesting. So, congratulations on all your success. Michael Platt, if we want to reach out to you, would you mind sharing how we could do so one more time?
Okay, well, again, my website is plattwellness.com, and my email is meplatt meplatt2@gmail.com.
Perfect.
Do you need more?
Whatever you have. No, we're excited to have you here and really want to congratulate you again on being a professional of the year and all the accomplishments you had, and looking forward to the next time we get to connect here on the podcast. And it's been a pleasure having you today. And I'm hoping you, Victoria, enjoy the rest of your beautiful day.
But I mentioned that you're a creative type person. They have a lot of adrenaline. So this is why you'll have trouble sleeping. You'll have some anger issues. I'm just saying.
Guilty.
But you'll be very intuitive about people. You'll find that animals will be very attracted to you, by the way.
And children.
And children. The creative type children will be attracted to you. And this is all related to adrenaline.
And you could just figure that out by talking to me?
Well, you told me you're a bedwetter. That's
just from the bedwetter alone. But no, I think I've never been diagnosed with ADHD, but I assume it runs in my family. My father's that type. My nephew's that type. I'm an overdoer, achiever, talker, and I embrace it. So I've never been diagnosed, and I feel like it's just me, and that's okay.
Remember in high school, you never got into algebra?
What do you mean? I got a year of college credits ahead of time. I did up to calculus 1. I was good in school.
Usually for, a lot of people have trouble with algebra.
Oh, wow. I did algebra. I did calculus. I wanted to be a doctor originally and then switched careers, but I did struggle. Math was not my strong point, but I got through it. It was more of I'm smart enough to do the memorization process to learn than to really learn and absorb. I think that's another.
But did you find that you waited till the night before an exam before you started studying?
No, I was a geek. I studied all day and night, but I would stay up late and all night just to make sure I got like a perfect score. But ask me to do algebra now, and I'm like, what? My kids are 6 and 8. I have trouble doing their math homework, Michael.
Yeah.
Well, can't wait to talk again, but unfortunately we're out of time, and we are excited that you're here again, and want to remind everyone, go to see Michael Platt, plattwellness.com, and we'll talk soon. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcasts on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just
knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.